Hello everyone, welcome. Glad you could join us. I hope you're excited to paint a turtle. I'm proud of all of you for being artists, nature artists. Okay, everybody's starting to join now. Okay, so I'm just wondering whether to wait for a couple more minutes or to before, well, I'll just mention the usual things that everybody's muted as usual, but if you want to ask questions, just unmute yourselves. It is being recorded, but as long as I keep my video pinned, then your video won't appear on the screen, so don't worry about being in the recording. It should take, I've made it a bit longer this time because last time we went over by a bit, so up to 90 minutes, an hour and a half, but if you finish earlier, that's fine, of course. But if you want to share your pictures afterwards, that would be really good. If you share them in the Facebook group called Rascal Ranger, it would be really good to see your pictures, unless you show them to me at the end of the session. And I'll stop the recording at the end of the session so we can share everyone's work. So I think most people have joined now. Before we get painting, I just want to show you a few pictures of turtles. And I hope this is going to work. It should do. Yes, it is working. It's just not very big. There's lots of different pictures of turtles. So the species that we're going to be drawing is a loggerhead turtle. So there's quite a big one, a good picture. And it's called Fecruna communi in Maltese. And the size of turtles, they can grow up to 90 centimeters in length. That's the average size. So that's almost a meter long. So I think most of you should know about what a meter is. And the weight of them, of the average turtle, is around 115 kilos. That's around 2 of me. So I think I weigh the average of an adult. So 2 adults together. But they have found turtles that weigh up to 450 kilos. Imagine how heavy that is. They can live for between 47 and 67 years. Let me just try and change. Yeah, there's a different photo. Their diet, I found, so omnivorous or carnivorous, they eat a lot of marine organisms that live on the seabed, and they can eat things like jellyfish as well. And there are threats to turtles, unfortunately. Here's some more photos. This next one is of baby turtles when it loads. So baby turtles, when they're born, the mothers can lay up to 200 eggs every time they lay, and these are the baby ones that come out, and they're tiny. They can be quite vulnerable to larger animals because they eat them, but that's nature. That's what happens, because there's an ecological chain of who eats who. But then the fishing can also affect them because they get tangled in the fishing nets. There's plastic pollution, lighting disturbs them on the coast, and coastal development because they can't come into nest. So the ways that you can help turtles are by throwing your rubbish in the bin. Helping to keep places clean is really good. Not using bright lights on beaches or near the sea. And you can support organisations like Nature Trust, who rescue turtles. So let me try. So with painting turtles, this is the picture that we're going to be using. But the thing is, in this picture, you can't see the colours that clearly on the shell. And to be honest, when I was looking up images, they are all completely different. It's amazing. So I can send you the link to this. Let me just, I'll copy it now. But then when I was, yeah, and another thing to note is that you see it has 5 hexagons, big main hexagons along the middle of the back, and then everything centers around that. So these are just good things to know before we start painting. And this, oh, I didn't think it would lose the image. Yeah, hopefully this should share. This is a turtle that was rescued by Nature Trust. She was called Claudia, and I sponsored the turtle. I paid, it was not a lot of money, and I got to take part of the turtle release. But so that was really cool. And I just wanted to show you another picture of Claudia, because I showed you that first picture, but here you can see that what the turtle shell looks like. You see that bright brown? It kind of comes out in rays of lighter brown. So we need to bear that in mind when we're painting the turtle, but I'll show you all of this. And this is a good picture to show it. I think this picture's been photoshopped a lot, but this is kind of what's going on their turtle shells. Okay, so let's get started. I just wanted to give you some pointers, and that's the research that I've been doing. Let me spotlight my painting video or drawing video. And I think we should have everybody with us. Let me remove that. Oh yeah, and I'll send you that. If you do want the photo of the turtle, I'm sending the link to it in the chat. Okay, so you can have that up on screen. But like I said, the colors are a bit different. Okay, so to get started, like we usually do, right, so you need, obviously you need your pencil and rubber. We're going to start with just drawing the shapes. Okay, I think you can see that. Okay, so first of all, we're going to draw the shell, which is the biggest part. So the shell, but kind of draw an oval-like shape. It's like a big squashed egg, kind of. And then you have a back flipper here. And then let's draw, so the head roughly, and we can change some of these things. And I'm keeping my pencil very light, just to show where everything should be. And then you have one flipper here, and one flipper that kind of, it comes out about here. I might make the shell about there. So that's the basic shape. So now we can start going round like we usually do and putting a bit more detail in. I have lost my image. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you start by along the turtle back, and I am going to put the pattern in because it kind of helps with knowing where everything is roughly. And you can't really see the full hexagons because of the angle of the turtle. So that comes down there. And it was quite interesting doing the research for this. And you can do this yourself with different species that you choose. Do some research to see how something should be drawn. Because it's interesting to see how different all the various species can be. Okay, I think the shell needs to come up a bit, just a bit though, because the turtle's on the side, so the shapes look a little bit like they're at a funny angle. And I'm just drawing because there is a rim around the turtle, around the turtle shell. It comes up like that. And then this edge is kind of rounded here. And it comes up like that. So when I got to release a turtle, which was really exciting, this is the part where we lifted it from here, because there's a bit where the shell attaches to the skin, but there's kind of an empty bit, so that's where it's best to pick it up from. So it means it doesn't hurt the turtle. Everyone okay? There's somebody that needs to.
You're going so fast.
Sorry. If I start to worry we're not going to manage it, so I go too fast. Sorry, I'll try and go a bit slower.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think I'm going to have to remove some of the, or redo some of the bits anyway. So I'm going to move this flipper here. So at this stage, you can be quite sketchy. And so if we fill in the, I don't know if you can hear the police there for some reason. I'm going to fill in the bits around the outer edge of the shell. So the first one, I mean, it doesn't obviously have to be exact, but it was interesting researching or looking at the photos, because towards the back, they stick out a bit more. They're also all different shapes. So there's one. Maybe I should make myself pause every now and then. So today we do have plenty of time, but usually I'm worried that we're not going to make it in an hour. So this is where the fin should come in a bit about here. Oh, it's hot. I think summer started. So if we draw the fin, which comes in there. Oops. What have I done? Hang on, let's keep going with the shapes and then we'll figure it out. Here. And then here, it's rounded. And here there's another line where there's a line in the shell. It's like, sorry, I guess the shell is made up of different segments. And then it's almost like a mosaic. And it would be really interesting to do an artistic study of just the shell. Okay, so I can't stand it. I have to tie my hair up. So the flipper comes out, and then there's kind of three bumps in it when you draw it towards you. And then on the other side, it has a little dip where it goes in. Make that a bit thinner there. So you can rub out as you go along the bits, the sketchy bits, or you can rub them out afterwards. So then from here, Turtle's neck starts, and bring that down a little bit. And the head, the top of the head is quite straight. And then there's like a little round sticky out bit at the top because that's its other eye. And then the jaw, it has, you can sort of see your nose in the picture. And then it has a very powerful jaw. That's why it's called a loggerhead turtle. Because loggerhead, I'm not sure how to explain a loggerhead. I suppose it's comparing it to a kind of machine that's strong. So they need strong jaws because they eat a lot of shelled organisms. So they need to crush the shell. So then the eye is about here. If you're looking at the photo, I try to look at the negative space in between things, which the negative space means what's around the shape that you're drawing, because then it gives you a better idea of what the shape that you're drawing. So this part that I've just drawn is the kind of the eyelid, because in the picture, the turtle's eye is kind of half closed. Looks a bit sleepy. And then they have kind of jewel-shaped actual eye because of where the slit is. Let's use a rubber afterwards. So now, hopefully, I don't know whether to stop for a little bit, so to make sure everybody's caught up. Make that a bit rounded there, or more rounded. My flipper almost came off the edge. I also seem to have pink paint everywhere because I've been trying to draw a Judas tree. And I got paint all over myself and all over everything. My phone, my face. So this flipper starts around here. So this bit between the head, I think I've made the head too big or not, but I think the turtle generally is bigger. So the negative space is this space between the head and the flipper in the photo. So looking at that, it's like a triangle. It can really help you when you're drawing things. So turtles have, I didn't get a chance to look up what that they sort of have a pointy bit on the front of their front flippers. Maybe it helps them swim. I don't think I've made this long enough. What are those other lines? I also watched a few videos of turtles, and then there's some really nice calming videos where you just watch turtles swimming, and it's just so much fun to watch animals be free like that, and in their natural spaces, their habitats. I think that's about right. I'm not very happy. Maybe this flipper needs to be a bit thinner. And maybe a little bit longer. It's in the photo, the fin does come off the page, which is why sometimes when you're going to draw something, an animal, it's best to look up lots of different photos of it, because you need to reference them for missing bits. So my pencil looks quite dark, but hopefully I'm just going to try and remove some lines. What you can do as well is dab your pencil, because you still want to see the lines before you paint it. This side. But you don't want the pencil to show too much through the paint if you're using watercolors. But if you're using something else, it usually covers it up. Although we're going to go quite dark in the middle. Hopefully I can cover some of this pink paint. Right. I wonder how everyone's doing with the drawing. So we could start painting. Hopefully everyone's with me safer. So yeah, grab your water, and just to let you know, with watercolor, it's best to have at least 2 pots of clean water, if not a third or a fourth. Because if your one pot of water gets really dirty, then you should change your water. Okay, so we're going to start with the shell, and I'm going to use a smallish, well, it is quite a small brush. I don't know what size it is, I'm afraid, because the paint keeps coming off and it loses all the mark on it. But just one that you're comfortable in filling in the shell. And what the colours I used, basically you don't need very many colours for the turtle, because it's kind of a mixture of brown and greys. So I'm going to use burnt umber, which if you don't have that specific colour, it's like a reddish brown. And then burnt sienna, which is an orangey brown. So if you don't have that colour, you can mix this brown with orange. And then yellow ochre and Payne's grey. Yellow ochre is like a browny yellow, so you can mix in some brown with some yellow. And Payne's grey is, well, it's grey, basically. Okay, so the first two that we need are burnt umber and burnt sienna. So I'm going to make a mixture of the burnt sienna, because we need it to be a little bit watery. Okay, oops. Getting paint everywhere today. And then I'm going to do the same with the burnt sienna, which is a bit of a funny colour. You see how orange it is? It's like an orangey brown. So if you want to mix orange and brown together, you should get a similar colour to that. Okay, and the easiest thing to do is to turn it that way. And you may want to use clean water again. I'm going to take the burnt umber, the dark brown, and I'm painting it and leaving a line between the sections. So where I've drawn the section line with my pencil, I'm leaving it white, which does take a little bit of patience. And if it doesn't work for you, don't panic. You can always paint the white line in afterwards. Okay, so then you paint in your watery mixture. And again, if you want to do this your own way, or you find a different way, that's fine as well. and it's interesting actually to see if people have come up with different ways of doing this. This is just how I thought of doing it. So whilst that is still wet, and I think I had a bit of trial and error with doing this, and I had to kind of go over it a few times. I've washed my brush, and I'm taking the burnt sienna, and you kind of do fan lines coming out from the center. So just lines coming out like this. To try and get some of the pattern of that shell.
Excuse me, Tamsin, please. What colors are these, please?
So the one underneath is burnt umber, which is a dark brown.
Burnt umber.
So I'm holding it at the screen at the moment.
Yes, thank you. So it's dark brown on its own.
And then on top, I'm using burnt sienna, which is
yes,
color.
Yes,
but if you don't have that color, try mixing the burnt umber with some orange, but try and make it quite orangey. Because like I showed you on the photo, it does look a bit bright.
Don't you have to let it dry, the burnt umber, before you put the sienna? Or?
No, I quite like that when it's not dry, it starts to kind of mix together a little bit.
Yes.
And watercolor is quite fun for doing things like this because it all blends together.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is why I kind of prefer working with watercolor, because you kind of don't know what it's going to do sometimes. And the first time I tried it with the burnt sienna first, and then the burnt umber on top, and it didn't work. But then because some of these colors, the way they're mixed, they're different consistencies. So the burnt sienna seems to repel the burnt umber, so it pushes it away, which I think comes out with quite a nice effect. And the photo where I took the shape of the turtle from, it looks blue, of course, because it's underwater. So you could draw a turtle, and instead of using these brown colors, you could use kind of blue and turquoisey colors just to give the impression that it's underwater. So I'm going to do the same thing. So it's just painting lines coming out from the middle. I'm just going to paint this section here. And with this section, you can't paint that many lines in because it's so small, and it's quite hidden in the photo, so you can just give a sort of impression of it. I hope this calms everyone else down as much as it does me. It's so good to de-stress when you paint. Well, I hope not many of you have that much stress in your lives, but it just helps to calm you down. And there's something about the burnt umber that it has a really nice texture to it. Kind of a shame that we're painting into it because it's nice on its own. Okay, so this is the last hexagon, which doesn't look like a hexagon at all on this turtle. And again, if you've lost the lines, really don't worry, because you can always paint them in with white.
Lines.
Lines. Obvious. Don't
Okay, everyone? Yeah, okay. Hopefully I've slowed down now and I'm not going too fast. And hopefully everyone's not getting impatient. So I see it, it's kind of like a meditation. Okay, so yeah, I'm turning my turtle as I go along because, well, otherwise I get paint everywhere basically, which happens anyway.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Anybody need a hand or needs to ask a question? Okay. So with this section, I did add a little bit more paint than the water. I went from the middle out. And I think another thing I noticed was, I think this is quite a young turtles. Well, I think when, well, I know Claudia, who we released, was relatively young for a turtle. So their shells look all fresh and lovely like this, but as a turtle gets older, all these organisms start to latch onto the shell. So if you look at older turtle shells, they look a bit more rough and they have different animals attached to them. But I think, I don't know if it's before nesting season, they come in closer to the shore and they rub themselves against the, I'm not sure if it's near nesting season, but anyway, they clean their shells when they have too many of them. So they start rubbing themselves against rocks and coral to get some of these barnacles off. Barnacles and, I think it's barnacles and shells. So if you look up videos about turtles, you can see them doing that. It's really interesting. It's like when we file our nails, they file their shells. This one came out a little bit dark, but I'll probably just get a different effect. I just like the way when you do it when watercolor is still wet and you mix colors together. It's such a nice effect. Okay, so that's the last section. I just need to paint the rays, the stripes. So next we need to paint the outer edge of the shell. So we're sticking to the same colours as it is still the shell. I don't know if I might use a slightly smaller brush just for this area.
Excuse me, Miss Sampson.
Yeah.
We have to disconnect because Ben got tired.
Oh,
We finished the recording and we will carry on another day. But you're doing very well.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, okay, great. Oh, well done, Ben. Yes, you can continue on the recording another time, can't you?
Thank you. Yes,
okay, you're very welcome.
Bye, thanks.
Bye. Bye, Ben. Bye. Okay, I don't know if to try and get more experimental and do quick things, or whether people enjoy the I don't know.
I'm really absorbed in my little
really? Okay,
like,
good.
pieces of the shell.
I find it quite meditative.
It's true. Me too. It's very nice.
Okay, that's good. They're just such interesting things to draw. And honestly, if you go through the images and draw different shells of each turtle, I think, oops, you'd come out with different ones. Oh, I think I might leave that. Oh, maybe. Okay, so those things, when I last painted this, I think it was around a week or two ago, but it's funny, watercolor reacts differently in warmer weather. So, and I think it's drying quicker than when I painted it last. So with this, I'm not painting the lines in these sections. I'm just dropping, although we could paint some lines into some of them. Let's do, I'm going to do 2 sections and then paint the oranges. Yes, so you can make suggestions of lines. I don't think I have, I'm not sure if I've got burnt sienna on the, oops, too thick. Burnt sienna on the list of colours that I usually recommend. And I don't know why I bought it. And when I first tried it, I thought, this is a really weird colour. I'm not sure if I like it. But for this, it turned out really well. Okay, we're nearly there with the shell. Might need a bit of white paint there. This back bit is a bit weird because it's one whole section, but I think it's because, again, because of the angle this particular turtle is at. He or she's kind of sideways. So I chose the turtle this month because this month is the beginning of turtle nesting season, which is exciting because last year we had 7 nests, I think it was. Not all of them survived, but most of them did. So if you follow Nature Trust, you get to see videos and photos of all these baby turtles. So last year was a kind of a record year for Malta. So hopefully we'll have another good year this year. So they've started monitoring the turtle nests, or monitoring the beaches rather, sorry, to check when a turtle comes up to make, so if they've laid a nest, then they need to look after it for a whole 24 hours for 2 months to make sure that the turtle babies are safe. Okay, let's start the next section. So I'm going to paint the flippers, the head, and the neck, basically, all the same colour. So I'm going to take the burnt umber, which is the brownish yellow, and we're going to put some of that in the palette. And I'm going to add some water to this. And then I'm going to add some of this dark brown, the burnt umber, to the yellow ochre. But the yellow ochre is quite strong, so you do need, we kind of want more of a brownish yellow. So if you're mixing brown and yellow, I'd say, that's about right.
What colour stems in, please?
So yellow ochre, so this one. This is in the list.
Yes, yes.
And mix that with burnt umber, the one we were using before, the dark brown.
Ah, yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Burnt umber, yes.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
But yeah, the yellow ochre is very strong, so you might have to put quite a bit of brown in there. And I'm going to make it a little bit watery. So let's paint this fin first, because then that's out the way and we're not going to risk putting our hand in it. So with this, I think the best thing to do is to paint it. Let's just see how quickly it dries. And hopefully these bits are dry. Yeah, I mean, if it does mix, it's fine. you might want.
Miss.
Yes. Yeah.
Miss.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Miss.
Yes. Hello.
Miss. Mine, this is.
Hello. I don't know. I can't see who's saying.
We guarded the seventh nests.
Ah, yes, you did. I met you there, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes, and you did a very good job.
Thank you.
We picked up microplastics together, didn't we, in the sand?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I remember. And you're the one, you said it would be nice to paint turtles.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Thank you for the idea. I thought everybody would enjoy painting turtles.
Fine, I can take off these annoying headphones.
Okay, so yes, it's guarding the turtle eggs feels like quite an important job. Just which it is. Okay, so that's quite wet still. So let's paint the other fin in the meantime. So this step took a bit of thinking about the next bit, because the flippers are very intricate and they have all these other different sections. And if we were going to draw each section, I think we'd be here forever. I'm trying to see if that's dry enough, but let's paint the other flipper as well. Yes, let's hope maybe we'll get more nests this year. That would be amazing. And if every nest has at least 100 eggs that hatch, and not all of those turtles survive, unfortunately, but that's the way nature works. That's why they have so many babies, to give them the best chance of surviving. I'm just wondering whether to paint the head first. Yeah, I'm going to paint the head next, because we'll have to see how we're doing for time, really. So I'm painting the head again with the same mixture. And I'm going to paint that section around the eye, just leaving the actual eye bit. different colour. Which is, it's okay because I'm going to mix in different colours to the head anyway. And then with the, I'm going to take some Payne's grey, so a dark grey, and just to get that effect on the neck, you don't want too much of it. And whilst the paint is still wet, just drop it in. See, it's drying so quickly. Because that's where the neck kind of crinkles a little bit. So we want to show those crinkles in the skin. And the way the paint spreads with watercolor, I'm just going to make it a bit wet here. And it gives quite a good imitation of the crinkles. It's just drawing a few lines basically. And we can take this same dark grey as well and paint it, although you don't want it too dark, so you water it down quite a bit. And then just paint that around the eye. Might make that a bit. You can, with watercolor, well, they say the best way to use it is to paint in layers, which is a bit difficult if you're limited on time, but you can bear that in mind when you're painting. Oh, now it's got a bit of a funny smile. I don't want it to have that much of a smile. Yeah, I just painted the mouth in. What I might do is lighten the bottom bit up just by using a clean brush. Maybe I don't want that to be too dark, so I'm just dropping a bit more ochre in. And then if you want things to be lighter, just pick it up. Which I'm using an old t-shirt. So I might pick it up a little bit. When to pick it up, you just dry your brush, clean your brush and dry it. Okay, so I'm gonna let that, we will paint the eye black, but I'm gonna wait for that to dry. And the way I got the effect, I'm not sure if we're going to have time to finish all of them, but we'll try and do at least one flipper. So if you take a pot of clean water, and I don't know if this brush is too big, I'm going to take a smaller one. And then you dry your brush on the towel that you have, old t-shirt. Sometimes I use kitchen roll, but I'm trying to be more environmentally friendly. And with watercolor, if you paint into it with water, it picks it up. It's like those invisible pens we used to have. But you can do it with watercolor. So I've started on, you know, those bumps that there are in the flipper. I thought that was the easiest place to start. Because doing this, I think it gives the effect that they have on their flippers without going into too much detail. You do have to keep cleaning your brush so that you get that line. So if you're not working with watercolor, I would do this so that I take the color that you use for the flipper and mix it with white, and then you just paint that on. Yeah, and I just keep, so I'll put my dirty t-shirt there, because to show you how much I keep using it. So you basically need to put your brush in the water, dry it, and then paint your lines, and just keep going up the fin. So they're not quite all the same shape. I mean, naturally on the turtle, they're not quite the same shape. What I'm going to, so if you want to paint some in a sort of triangular shape, and if you want to paint random shapes, because they are very random, you could do a painting study just on the fins, probably. I'm going to go around the edge. I'm going to try and make more random shapes, actually, because it looks more natural. Yeah, it's interesting. In places, if the paint was thin, it doesn't mark it as much, but that's fine. Just a suggestion of it is fine. Hopefully this is working for everyone.
I don't know, you make it look very easy, but for me it doesn't look like that.
Really?
No, I'm not. Maybe I left it to dry too long, but it doesn't really pick it up so easily.
Are you using, you're using watercolor paper?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's different paper from yours, or maybe I made the wash lighter or something, but
Yeah, I'm finding that in parts where the paint is lighter, it's not picking it up so much. I wonder if you dropped water in, but you really, I mean, I forget to do this as well. You should take a piece of rough paper and try it out on there first and see, because that when you drop water in, it does all these strange effects. I mean, it's not gonna, you know, look like these sections. I suppose you could give it another layer and then do this later.
I'm gonna try that. Thanks.
That's okay. Yeah, I guess it does depend on all the materials everyone's using, because obviously not everyone has the same things as each other. I mean, and you could mix a different color and paint that in. Like I said before, this is only the way I've thought of doing it. So if you want to experiment, I find that it's better to, before you paint the piece you want to, that you're, you know, aiming to put in your nature diary, it's better to test it out first. So I tested the shell on its own first, and I tested the flippers. Yeah, so here I'm just filling in the sections in between, which came out more random on the previous one, but it's hard to get an exact picture of natural things because they're so amazing, so beautiful, that it's really hard to represent that. So then you have to find a way of doing that without making it look weird, I guess. So on the head, is everyone all right so far? Yeah. Okay, good. The head, I'm going to do the same thing. My head came out really thick.
Tamsin,
Yes.
we are using acrylics. Do you think it's possible to use? It's not working for us.
No, with acrylics, I think the best thing to do probably is to mix. So the color you used for the flippers, mix it with a little bit of white so that it's lighter.
Yes.
And then paint the sections like that.
Yes, yes. Okay, yes, thank you.
That's okay, you're welcome.
So,
Okay. So I'm not sure if that's the nose or not, but on the picture, there's kind of this triangle shape. Because the head has sections on it as well. And yeah, it's interesting. In this part, the paint, I'm not getting the white, I'm getting yellow. Because I think I painted so much on. Oh. Sorry, that my phone is saying low battery, so I'm going to plug it in. Okay. And there's a line around the eye. Kind of goes down like that. Yeah, I do keep having to dry my brush. And I think with this one, because of the way it's come out, I don't know whether I'd try, once it had dried a bit more, I'd potentially try and go in again and do the same thing again, just to take a bit more paint out. But basically, I'm just painting random shapes in. Kind of just stop there. I think a bit more needs to be lifted from here. And the lines are a bit too yellow. So I might go in with a little bit of white. And obviously the other flippers need doing, but might not have time for that. But I'm now going to take the Payne's grey, or you can use a very dark grey or black. I mean, my mum's always saying to me, don't use pure black for the eyes, because nothing, I think her reasoning is because nothing is pure black in nature, but, and well, not that actually, it's because it looks a bit harsh in paintings. Right, I'm going to try and leave a bit of white in the middle, so it looks like it's reflecting. Okay, I think that works. This is why I like Payne's grey, because it's not pure black. It's a dark grey. And I'm going to try and lighten up the chin a little bit more.
Wow, his expression is really turtly.
What, yours or?
Yours.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I gave it too much of a smile originally.
No, I think he's really good.
Oh, thank you. You have to show me yours in a minute.
Yeah, I went a bit rogue today. I took another photo as an example because it fits better with my page size. But I will show you.
But I think, because that's what I did, I think the best thing to do is to find the position you like, or maybe one photo shows a bit more character, and then investigate what everything else looks like. So yeah, the other flippers, well, we can keep going for another 2 minutes. I hope I haven't tired people out. I don't know if everyone's mainly finished, and if we do want to look at each other's work or not.
Mine is still drying. I cannot move it right now.
Really?
What would you suggest, like for the white lines in the middle? Do you keep them really white, or do you give like a very light wash of something? Like the white lines.
I left them white on my original one. You could, I think they looked pretty white on the photo. No, I don't think they were completely white, were they?
Well, on mine they are a bit like a little grayish, a little yellowish. So I think I will try, once it's really dry, to go very light, you know, just to give it.
Yeah, it might look a bit more natural. Actually, look at that picture of Claudia, because I wonder if it's like an ochre.
Yeah, like very light ochre. That's
Yeah.
the photo I'm using. Looks like that.
It's just in places. Oh, my computer's too slow to try and look these things up. What does everyone think? Do people want to stop here and shall we look at each other's work? Yes.
Look.
Okay, I'm just going to stop the recording, okay? So I hope everybody
It's
enjoyed
good.
that. And we're going to look at everybody's paintings now.